as a doctor who's found love in medicine again after multiple years of being really burned out through med school, through residency, working through the New York pandemic, and then doing sleep fellowship. Then after fellowship, honestly, just questioning, whether or not I even loved medicine still. And people asked me if I would do medicine again. And at that point, I really didn't know, honestly. I wasn't sure. I kind of felt like if I had what was available to me now, just like knowing what type of like non-traditional jobs that were out there, I like really like thought about it, right? And then I took a big hiatus. I didn't completely stop practicing medicine because you do need to continue for, keep up your skill sets and stuff. So after I graduated fellowship, I took about 8 months off, something like that, during which I took 2 months of it to study for boards. Then I took about 3-4 months off, honestly, just to decompress, right? Like I was just so burned out. I just needed to rest, recover, sleep like a normal person, eat like normal regular meals, exercise like a normal person, have just like the capacity to just like reflect and really think about who I am as a person. And then I started looking into like locums jobs and maybe even like, permanent salaried sleep jobs and stuff. But I just didn't like any of the sleep jobs that were around in 2021, which was after the pandemic and a lot of labs had shut down. And, it would have meant that I would have taken a job that I didn't want to take in the middle of, places that I did not want to live in. And I just wanted to rediscover myself. So I opted to do hospitalist locum tenens, which is basically kind of like how there's travel nurses. Similar concept, right? You take on contract jobs. And then once I started taking on hospitalist contract jobs, I met so many doctors outside of academics, right? Because that's all you come across in residency and fellowship. You just come across like academics, maybe some private practice people, but you don't really come across PRN people, right? Like as like per diems, locums. And then I was coming across so many of them. And as I was, doing these contracts and going to hospitals that had a lot of contractors and just like loved the way they approached medicine. They still love their job, but it wasn't everything, right? A lot of them, whether they were building real estate business or they were doing Airbnb or they were, I think I met like a producer because it was LA who also, part-timed as per diem hospitalist. And I don't know, like I had just met people whose life was just more than just being a doctor, but they also were practicing as a doctor and they were creating their own schedules, right? And I think that was like the biggest thing. And if the contract didn't serve them, or if the hospital that they were, working at didn't serve them and it was just not good, then you could give 1 month notice, like just like they could give you 1 month notice to end the contract without any like problems. So yeah, like I just came across so many people who were so much happier because their job didn't consume them. And they got to practice medicine on their own terms. Obviously, you still had to deal with the whole system, and you end up being at a hospital where there's a reason why they end up having to hire so many per diems and locums, right? Because there's a reason why they're not able to get enough salaried people to work there and need per diems. But what I'm trying to get at is, I guess the reason why I talk about this is like, do you really not like practicing medicine anymore? Which is perfectly fine, right? But is it the fact that you were, basically in this locked in contract of residency and fellowship and then felt the need to sign whatever job that came your way because you're still in that scarcity mindset when you're signing attending jobs, instead of taking on jobs that serve you, you as a person. I decided to go back to being a salary job only because I found the job I liked. I somehow kind of sort of fell into sleep medicine. It was never really something that I was envisioning myself doing, but I now love it. I get to read sleep studies, which I think is so outside of what I thought I'd be doing with my life. I also have sleep patients, and there's like a very high satisfaction rate in terms of like, you know, some patients feel better immediately, right? And some patients, it's like a whole process until they finally feel better and they finally feel like their sleep is better. But a lot of patients honestly feel better. And I don't work nights. I don't work weekends. There's no call. I work some days from home. I get to work out when I want to. I get to eat all my meals. I get to sleep relatively regularly, which is a first. And my mental health and my physical health, my emotional health, it's the best it's ever been. And that's why people are like, how do you have so much energy at 36? I'm like, you don't understand. This is the most I've had stability. You know, my health has been its best. I'm living my life on my own terms. Okay? So I just want you to like think about that. Don't beg for jobs that don't serve you. Okay? Do it on your own terms. And it might not look like what Kool-Aid that academics were trying to serve you, but you know, you just got to choose what makes you happy. And think about all these like TikTok doctors who are also per diem and locums and stuff on here.